Hello and welcome to another edition of Free Information. I am your host. I am also not Jack Vera. Today we are continuing on the continents discussing Australia. Australia, it is a continent surrounded by water. Now you may say, aren't most continents surrounded by water? Well, I mean, the Earth is mostly water. But this one, if you look at a map, it's like really surrounded by, it's like no joke. You cannot swim to another continent. There's no, it is surrounded by water, this continent, Australia. Down under, what is it known for? Well, you might think if you grew up in the States that they're known for their beer, Foster's, Australian for beer. But according to Australians, they don't drink that beer. That was just an ad campaign, and it's entirely inaccurate. That's what they say, if you ask them. However, they do have a place called Foster. Yes, it is on the East Coast. It is like north of Sydney. And it's a place. So it's, I don't know who to believe. People that I've met or someone I've never met before that's been telling me this commercial all my life. It's a very convincing commercial. They have a blue beer and they have a green beer. But I have no idea where they've made it. Maybe it says on the can if you would like to read it. What else do they have in Australia? Well, they have Perth, and that's on the west coast. And it is according to some, the most isolated city in the world. You're overlooking the Indian Ocean. What does it feel like? I have no idea. But it's the edge of the world. Imagine seeing the sunset there, sitting there, and be like, wow, we're at the edge of the world. But is it a good wow or a bad? Is it a good edge of the world or a bad edge of the world? Because I remember for years, every time I had my lunch break, I would be eating my lunch, and the only table left up would be one where it was facing the wall. I was eating my lunch after working in basements and other things in this factory, looking at the wall, no sunlight. And it felt like the edge of the world, but not in a good way. Because sometimes you might see a movie or something that we're at the edge of the world. It's like, wow, that's cool. And sometimes it's not. Edge of the world is not good. So I don't know. Please tell me, Perthenians, Perthers, what is it like? Perhaps we'll find out one day. What else is Australia known for? Well, Australia's known for how they talk, how they speak. It is a dialect, not an accent. Why the different people confuse dialect and accent all the time? Accent, if you speak a different language and then you're trying to speak a new one, we have an accent because maybe your language doesn't pronounce you don't have that sound in your language, or you don't have it, so you say just a little bit of funny. You say Burger King or something. So it's a dialect because they speak English. That's their language. Would you like to imitate it? There's some very common Australian things that we know about over here in this North American continent. The Foster's commercial, maybe some Crocodile Dundee. That's a knife, or maybe a dingo. That's not funny. Oi. Anyways, grand continent, home to about 20 million. But again, an accent is different than the dialect. Sometimes people might hear your accent because you're speaking and they say, oh, you speak another language. Or they just find out you have no accent, but they find out you speak another language. Should we speak your other language? No, we shouldn't. People have come up to me like, oh, you speak another language? Yes. I speak that language too, but you speak English just fine. In fact, I think English is your first language. No, let's speak the other language. No, I don't want to. Why not? You just said you speak the other language. Yes, but that's not your language. Like, I don't want to pull the cards here or anything, but English is your first language. Am I correct? Yeah, I was born here. I grew up here. It is my great-granddad and granddad before him. but let's speak this other language. I don't want to speak the other language, because guess what? I don't speak that other language perfectly, and neither do you. Now, did you go to the Harvard of that other language? Do you got a seal from the president or chancellor or emperor or whatever they got from that place that speaks the language? No. So it would be like a poorly rehearsed tango or something. We're going to step on each other's feet, and it's not going to look nice. It's going to be a very bad breakdance battle. So that's why I say, if you meet me and you're like, hey, you speak that language. I took that language in school. Let's speak it together. No, I don't want to. We can speak a lot more in English, and we'll have fun. You will have fun. I will have fun. We'll all have fun. Now, if you come up to me and it's like, hey, I don't really speak English. Can we speak that? Yeah, sure. Let's do this. Let's break bread together and be friends. This is fine. I like to try out my language with people that actually speak it. Because guess what? The whole time I'm speaking the other language, I'm thinking, like, is this right? How do I say this? How do I read this word? Tuh. And I'm not going to do that with another person that just learned it. They just want to show off how smart they are. It's arrogance, and you should be humbled by speaking with somebody that actually speaks that other language. We are over our time. Thank you so much for joining in on another edition of Free Information. On our next episode, we'll be discussing Africa. This episode has been brought to you by, I think we've done the sun, temperature, humidity. It's a lot like humility, but it's more moist.